Welcome to another episode of Acoustic Chef. This is your boy, D. Will.
And this is Damn, Gina, damn.
This is Capel.
And this is your girl, Ebony.
Y'all some nuts. Y'all crazy.
Retarded. How y'all doing today?
Oh, I'm good,
today.
man.
You know, it's crazy that these women be talking about how much men be wanting to take over and want to rule the world, but then when you give them the power, you know what I'm saying, they don't even want it. That's amazing to me.
You just made that up. No woman says men want to take over. Men y'all already took over. There's no one said that.
But when we put y'all in the position to be in charge and y'all don't want it.
Put us in a position to be in charge. How have you done that?
Excuse me. Apologize. Not put you.
You've allowed us to start a show to talk first.
Yeah, ain't that something?
Gina and I, so around Mother's Day, we're gonna run the show. We're gonna tell you what sound quality, what visuals, what your background needs to look like, and what you need to wear.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Watch these ratings sky. Well, around that time, we're not gonna film. We're not.
Why we gotta wait till Mother's Day? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Because that's when we free. It's almost. It's like 2 weeks.
That's the only time.
Like in 2.
Is it? It's coming up, isn't it?
It is.
You shouldn't have to wait till a specific day to be liberated. You should be liberated every day.
I've been liberated, but you finna get this switch. We finna put you in line.
Man, we let y'all vote and let y'all work.
Let us. He let us. Why, thank you. Why, thank you, sir. Anything else I can do for you? I mean, dang.
So now he's a white man. He let us vote.
Anyway, I've been listening to DMX. Probably the last couple of days. Just you know what I'm saying, resting the beats to DMX, because we talked about him, but he actually passed. So rest in peace to Dark Man or whatnot.
Yeah, the boy finally at rest. I wonder, I think that his story could be one of those movies, like if they make a movie that would be like Oscar worthy. If
they will,
because his story is like, it's sad, but it's the type of story where people would like watch it and be very interested, because he had such an intriguing life.
He did.
A lot of pain, a lot of success, but I don't know if there's ever been a person, I ain't gonna say ever, but I'm pretty sure, I know they are, but his story, as far as the pain that he went through and how successful he was, and his, you want to say, fall from grace, like it's not too many people whose stories can compare to that.
Yeah, man. If that boy, if DMX, Pac, and Zero would have did a song together, that'd have been the saddest song ever. Like,
yeah.
Well, sad. Zero, yeah, definitely. But I didn't think I was never depressed with DMX music, even when it was dark, because it was like something relatable. Like Zero, to me, that's just depressing music. Yeah. But
it's like
DMX, no reason. I mean,
well, I'm just saying from the pain aspect, they all three like express.
Oh yeah, pain
and stuff like that or whatever.
Yeah. Some of our best artists, even R&B, But I hope that he actually left like the stories, like with his children, not even necessarily written down, but I hope he told it. We can piece together interviews and what we think. But I don't like when I see something like biopic of him, I want it to be like real, not a lot of fillers, just for the entertainment aspect. So I hope that it's like he really told the story and nobody manipulates it, because I mean, I know he has his ex-wife probably could, if she's on board, she could probably tell a lot, and then his fiance probably could tell the latest, and then he had 15 kids and godchildren as well, so they should all be able to hopefully share that. I just know a lot of people don't always tell it all, But if somebody lived through it with them, for those people that lived through it,
he had enough drama. I don't think they need to dramatize anything or add anything extra.
I think what people would probably do to the movie, which would water it down, is they would make it from a success perspective, where he came from nothing and he rose to fame. They probably wouldn't, the movie probably wouldn't show like his life after fame.
Part of his life,
it probably wouldn't show like the story that I was talking about last show where he was explaining how he got hooked on drugs. Like it probably wouldn't go that route, and that's the route that I think would be intriguing about his life, is the stuff that they wouldn't show, because some people probably would feel like that would put him in a bad light, because a lot of times those things don't come up in movies. They leave that stuff out of people's biography movies or whatever, if you want to call them that.
Yeah, depending on who's over it.
Yeah, I think we need to find somebody who's going to tell the real story. So
I think his ex-wife probably would, because they were still really good friends, so they say, and I think she's been through it since they were young, and I think she could probably do that. I think other times people, like we don't know. I mean, we can speculate what led to his heart attack, but my thing is, like, even with Whitney Houston, like, I hate that they keep making something, because I'm a Whitney fanatic. Like, I love Whitney.
Making movies.
Yeah.
Why?
And it's like, okay, now some of them you want to paint her as the princess. The other ones you want to paint her as this dark, horrible person that got everybody hooked on drugs. Just tell the whole story in one. And it's it's almost like if you ever had a real Aaliyah, thing, like the parents don't ever want them to touch the R. Kelly situation. It's like, okay, well, then what else? We know she made music. That's what we want to kind of see.
I think it would take a lot of people to bring his story together. I mean, he has a lot of kids. He had multiple partners. I mean,
his story would be better off as like a 2-3 part Netflix series. Because to tell the whole story, you would need more than 2.5 hours of a movie.
Definitely.
You would need several like shows to be able to like just capture the full, moments of what he went through as a person. Mm-hmm. I think that would be the best thing for him.
Yeah.
If they was to tell the story. Yeah.
6 parts, because we gotta talk to Brenda, Letitia, Linda. Felicia.
Stop it.
All of them.
For real.
Oh, that was a good one, Virginia.
What's our favorite joint?
I love
Actually, that one was my favorite one. I ain't gonna lie. What these I ain't gonna say the word, but what these women want. But that was my favorite one.
That was dope.
Yeah. I don't think that was my favorite one. The one, well, I remember the most, like in high school, we did a band routine to what's the real name of it, but we used to call it Lose My Mind. So we did
Party Up.
Yeah, Party Up. So we had a dance routine to that, so I can remember that like explicitly. But one of my favorites is like one where he's hollering at this chick. What's the name of it?
How's it going down? That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
Because
that would be my second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the beat.
He could have got me on that one. Yeah, he could have got me. I like that.
Yeah, that's my joint right there. I could listen to that one on repeat, like over and over. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I love DMX.
Yeah, that album, the one with that album, that song, the album that song was on, that was my favorite album of his. Like, because I remember when it came out, I was in college. I think I was maybe a sophomore, and I had this. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I remember because I had the black Mirage. I thought I was a shit. Little Mitsubishi Mirage. You remember the Mitsubishi Mirage, Damien?
I remember.
I got tickets in it.
yeah, we got that wreck.
No,
you talking about the time I let you take my car?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Hey, brother, ain't had nothing to do with you.
Yeah, but still, it made my insurance go up.
No, it didn't.
That's what my mama said.
Lying, bro.
Oh, see,
that's what mama said.
So listen, Mister, my cousin stuck me with a drink, wrecked your car, and your insurance went up.
That's not the truth.
But he's years later, he's still talking about this one drink.
That's not the truth. Okay. That's not the truth. For one, we got into a wreck. I got rear-ended in his car, so that didn't make it. I actually got him paid or whatever. You know,
you got yourself paid.
You were supposed to get
you
paid.
and Jonas. We got to tell that story one day.
Oh my god!
I don't know if we got time, but you got to tell that story one day. Yeah, I got a little money, but y'all was the ones that went to therapy and all that stuff.
That was you. You should have went to therapy.
I mean, I was fine. I mean, but hey, it is what it is. I ain't
Capel tried to call them people back and tried to get more money.
No, not try. I did. I called him back and I was like, my back was a little hurt. He was like, okay, I can give you about another. I forgot how much it was. I was like, okay, cool. And
I
they
hope the
said
insurance company's not listening to this.
they the ones. Hey, all I did was just say my back was hurting. They the ones who cut the check.
Insurance companies are scammers. They're scammers.
No, I was gonna say the other song. No, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like at the end, it'd be like that. I love that song. Oh, Who We Be. I think that's the name of it. I like that joint right there too. The video was.
I think that was all on the same album. Yeah, I think that was.
Yeah, I think was that too. Is that then there was X or something like that.
I don't remember the name of the album.
Yeah, that boy gave us a couple classes, man. R.I.P. to that boy, man, for real. But anyway, moving on, we had some tragic news. Well, I mean, that is tragic. DMX passing was tragic, but we had some more tragic news in the black community in this country. With another police shooting of a unarmed black man, which was a kid. What was he, like 18 years old?
He was 20, but he's still 20. A boy.
Still a kid.
He's still a kid. Yeah.
Father of two. I mean, father of one, 2-year-old.
2-year-old.
Yeah.
In Minnesota again.
Yep.
And what's his name? Daunte. What's his last name?
Right.
Daunte Wright.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So did y'all get a chance to look at the video? I mean, I hesitated to watch it.
I don't even want to watch it.
So what happened? First, but
I didn't know that's what I was going to watch. Like I just scrolled and saw it, and I didn't expect something like that to be available that quick.
I don't want to see it because the rage in me and the fear that I already have about my own boys.
The reason why
triggering.
The reason why I wanted to watch it is because I wanted to be able to see for myself. So when I speak about it,
make a judgment. Yeah,
I can make a judgment because, there have been times where there have been videos that I've seen. I'm like, no, this person shouldn't have got shot, but this person did something that I can understand why they got shot.
Yeah,
not like none of the situations where we see unarmed black people. There was this one video that came out after George Floyd where people was posting it, and it was like this kid, he got shot. Young guy got shot somewhere, and I didn't have no context, and I was like another black kid, blah blah blah. And I found out that this dude was running from the cops, shooting at them as he was running. I'm like, he should have got shot. That's crazy what he was doing. But so I wanted to see it because I wanted to be able to say, with passion and know that, hey, this was wrong. And it was hard to watch. So basically, dude gets stopped for air freshener. They say they stopped him because he had an air freshener tag hanging. I didn't even know that was against the law.
Are you serious? Like one of the trees or something?
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of air freshener was, but it was hanging. I didn't know that was against the law. That's the reason they stopped him.
That's some.
Go ahead.
Did they say that's why they stopped him? Because there's also I know he said that, and he called his parents. They may have told him that, but now this warrant is coming up, and now they found out that the warrant was sent to the wrong address. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was what the mom said in the video. I didn't hear anything about this is why we stopped you, because they never say that. They never, a lot of times you never hear why they stopped you. They stop you and then they start asking you questions about shit.
Get out the car.
Exactly. So in the video, I watched the video and the cops walk up to the car. He gets out. They're putting the cuffs on him, and then this lady cop, I think she says he has warrants, or he has a warrant or something like that, and he starts to like resist. He's trying to get back in his car, and I hear people speculating that, well, people saying, well, why did he do that? Why did he resist? Don't resist. Just live to fight another day. Blah blah blah. Yeah. But I mean, people speculating that he didn't want to go because he knew he was being arrested unjustly, and he felt like it was like they were saying, like, if he maybe he was thinking he wasn't gonna come home the next day. That happens. People get arrested unjustly. They don't resist. They get arrested and they end up dead in jail, and don't nobody know what the hell happened. So whatever the case is, he resisted, and he gets in his car. The cop supposedly thought that she had I can't remember if it was a woman or the guy.
It was a woman.
Woman.
That she pulled the taser, supposedly. Yeah, whatever. We can get in that in a second. And she shoots him. And then he pulls off, He pulls off, doesn't go far, and then the car stops.
Was he already driving when she shot, or like how?
No.
I mean, how did that?
No, she wasn't. He wasn't driving. The car wasn't moving,
So
and I
the
heard
door-
more than one shot.
So the door was. The door was open. Had to
The
be
door
open,
was
right?
open.
Yeah, the door was open.
The door was
because
open.
because when he got out the car, like everything he did initially until he started resisting was voluntary. You know, he got out on his own. They was arresting him, and then he started to struggle, and the door never closed because he was standing right by the door, so the door was always open to the car.
Yeah.
And it was.
But the girl that was with him says that she tried to, she was on the phone, and they kept saying to put the phone down. So I think there probably was a lot of dialogue that led to him to get back in the car too. So I guess that will all come out, if that's the case, because the part of the body cam that I saw was just the shooting. So I don't know when they turned it on.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know. Hopefully they captured everything prior to that. Regardless, guilty people shouldn't be killed either. But he did have somebody with him in the car with him, and that girl called the mom and told her what happened. So,
Right.
So I don't know, but he did call his mom before they came back with his license, and he did say that they stopped him for the air freshener. So I'm assuming that's what they told him, and then they ran whatever. And unless the warrant was associated with the license plate, who knows? But
Right.
But see, like the thing is like if you run somebody's license plate and you see they have a warrant, then you should come to the car saying we have a warrant for your arrest. There's a warrant. Like that should be what you're saying to the person.
Right.
It
Not
shouldn't
get out
be-
of the car. Don't
Yeah,
worry
like,
about it.
you-
Get
you
out
need
of the
to let
car. Do
people
what I
know.
said.
Exactly. You should be letting people know what they're being arrested for.
Right.
And of course,
Yeah.
that's what they're supposed to be doing. And before we continue, I do want to say something because I was guilty of this in the past. And I remember me and Damon had a conversation about it years ago, and I changed my stance somewhat on it. So I said earlier about he was resisting, and of course, people was like, "Why did he resist?" Blah blah blah. I used to ask that question because for me, resisting is something that I'm not going to do. I'm going to like let it go down and hopefully get through the situation and sue the police and I'm not going to fight because of course when you see somebody fight it never goes right. But I used to say if you didn't resist you would probably be here to live another day. And Damon would be like, but that's not the point, and I'm like, I know it's not the point. They were still wrong, but if he wouldn't have resisted, that's we got to stop looking at it from that perspective. Like that's a dangerous message. That's even a dangerous question to even ask, because what it does is starts to paint the person that was wrong as if they did something and they didn't do anything. Like we got to stop saying why did he resist? Like for me, that's for me to do for myself, but I'm not going to put that out there for the rest of the world to say, well, if he didn't resist, he got a point. No, we don't have a point. Like you can't look at the victim and say, well, they should have did this. No, they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have been in that situation in the first place. And that's the problem. Yeah. Even with George Floyd, people say, why forget resisting? That is not the issue. If you really break it down, really break it down, people have, we have this fight or flight in us. And when you're scared, if you are a fighter, you're going to fight back when you feel like you didn't do anything wrong. It is not easy to have people rush you and throw you up against the car and put you in handcuffs. Like that's you're naturally going to tense up and fight back. So
and just like the veteran
idea. Like, go ahead, Ebony.
The veteran that we just saw the video of, what people could say, well, why didn't he get out the car? He knows the rule, but he was scared. The black veteran did y'all see the video? The two cops that came up to him. So Latino. So he did not comply because he said he was scared, and one of the officers said you should be, and then they go and tell him you need to get out. You need to get out. So what's going through your head? You're already nervous. Like it's such a tense, and I don't know, listeners, please, I don't know what other races feel this when a cop gets behind them. It doesn't matter what I have right. Like if I have no warrants, no tickets, I'm just tense. Am I driving right? Is my phone down? Do I look suspicious? Did I pay that ticket from 10 years ago? You just never know. And I'm speaking from a woman perspective, a black woman. Black men, I really feel for y'all when it comes to this, because I'm not presumed as a threat. I don't think I'm valued, but I'm not presumed as a threat. But I can think about many situations myself where I I remember coming out of a club one time, coming out of the club, walking to my car, getting in my car and pulling out the parking lot. A cop pulls me over, and they tell me they tell me to get out the car. So I get out the car. I do get out the car. Then they check my license. When they come back with my license, I have a ticket. But then they tell me that's why they pulled me over. But I'm not associated with the car because it's my mom's car. So that there's no way they would have known that I had a ticket.
Liars.
They proceed to do a body search on me. I'm embarrassed. I'm in downtown Houston. A body search. They even calling a woman to, at that time I had a weave. They went through my hair. They had me take certain pieces out. Like what? It was crazy. And they ended up taking me to jail because of this ticket. And I had to pay that night to get out. And a friend of mine ended up getting his license ran, and he had so many, he had to sit in there for weeks and weeks and weeks. I was just fortunate that it was one, and I was able to pay that day. But it's like those little things, that's embarrassing, that's humiliating, you know, and you can't really justify because you started it off with a lie. Yeah, you could say, well, you should pay your tickets. I was a young person. Okay. But regardless, you lied to even get my information to find out that I had a ticket. You know, it's probably like 1 a.m. But what were you looking for? Searching my hair and stuff. And what am I going to do? Fight? And, you know, it's very scary. I'm being searched, and I'm thinking about what men have to deal with if I'm tensing up every time a cop is behind me. And I'm in an area where there's nobody. I remember my cousin and I got in trouble for not pulling over until we went miles, because why would we pull over where there's no lights, no convenience stores? Straight up. But we could have been in trouble for evading, right? We could have been shot up then. But it's like, what do you do?
They could
keep driving.
You're 100% right. But I'm never gonna pull over like on a dark road. I've done that before or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But and all right, let's say, I mean, go back to Daunte and his situation. I mean, we could talk about this shit all day. Every black person has a terrible cop story or whatever. But I don't understand why she shot the even if it was the taser. Why was she shooting the taser
because she's racist?
If he was in the car, if the car was engaged, especially if the car was engaged, because that seems like that's you're adding more danger to the situation or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean the car was engaged?
If it was in gear.
The car was stopped. It was parked.
The car was stopped.
He didn't go in gear till after they shot him, and then he pulled off. Like I say, pulled off, but it literally like went a few feet, and then the car stopped. So it from the video, it looks as if once he got shot, he had enough in him to start the car, put it in gear, put it in drive, and then go up a little bit, but it didn't go far. Like he pretty much died instantly.
My God, I'm not gonna watch that video.
Well, it was multiple shots, so I know.
It's hard to watch because you know what happened.
First shot, why didn't she stop? If she was trying to tase him, what the hell?
I think she just shot on one time. I think she just shot on one time. If I'm not
I have to go back and watch. I don't remember hearing just one.
But I don't think it was one gunshot. It could be one gunshot, but this is the thing, and this is when you really start to break it down. A cop posted this, and then of course it was put on Sean King's page, DL Hughley's page. They took the Twitter clip. So the guy was saying that a taser, which is on the non-dominant side,
the left side,
and weighs like 3 ounces, compared to the gun, which on the dominant side that weighs like 2 pounds. There's no way to mistake the two.
She was a trainer.
There's no way to mistake the two. So that excuse of I thought it was my taser, that's just a predetermined, lie to try to get yourself out of trouble because you fucked up. You messed up.
And she was already involved in I think a fatal shooting before. That wasn't her first fatal shooting.
We got probably thousands of cities within the 50 states, United States of America. And this happens again in the same state and city. Like that, all it does is highlight, we know we have a universal problem, but that just highlights that it's a serious problem in Minnesota. It is a serious problem in Minnesota.
I mean, it's a serious problem in America, and I think it's just a coincidence that it happened again in Minnesota. I feel because it can happen anywhere.
And how many stories we haven't heard?
Happen anywhere. Exactly. We got cell phones now and body cameras and stuff like that or whatever.
I agree that it is.
Just imagine how much it was happening before.
No, I agree to that, but this is what I believe, bro. I believe that in certain places there is a culture of we don't give a shit compared to we don't give a shit. It's
called America.
No, but I'm saying no, compared to we don't give a shit, but we gotta still do things a certain way. We don't give a shit, but you know, like if we gonna shoot somebody, we gonna take our body cameras off. If we gonna do this, we gonna like hide all the evidence. Like the way she did that, the way they did that with George Floyd, and it was a couple of other situations that happened in Minnesota. It's like they just shoot. Cameras on you, people recording you, pop. Like it seems like it's more of a culture. Like they can just do whatever the hell they want. Where in other places it's still happening, but it's like they try to cover it up. Like you may find out about the shit 10 days later because at the end of the day they can't cover it up. Somebody didn't leak the information out. This shit happened the day it happened. We knew about it. The camera video came out from the body cam the next day. When do that happen?
But I think that happened just because of the publicity around their showings. Yeah, I don't think if everybody wasn't there, if Attorney Crump wasn't there at this particular time, there would have been a longer investigation. So many people stepped down, and I watched the press conference. And y'all are right, it was one shot, but I heard multiple, but it might have been just some effects. But and she was a trainer and a 26-year veteran, and she was training someone at that time, I believe. Yeah, But yeah, I think that they just couldn't hide it. And the press conference I saw today, there was the mayor of that particular area. I don't even know. I think he just probably got that position. Like somebody resigned. I don't know if it was due to this or recently. I think the
police commissioner or whatever. She and the police commissioner, I believe, resigned.
But I heard him today, and it was just like I cried for him too. There were so many people going off on him, and he's a black man, and you could tell that he was doing his best to just hold his composure. And everybody was yelling at him like, "What are you doing? And why are y'all doing? You get to go home to your family and do all of this." And he just sat there and he took it, and he was just like, "Okay, have a good day."
I think sometimes when you're a public servant, you have to just take it because even though it's not his fault, even though he's doing what he can, you just say, okay, you apologize and you announce there's going to be an investigation and everything you can do, like within your power, because they can't do everything. Like, do people want them to take this woman and put her in front of a firing squad, or maybe we'll just all stone her to death and everybody will be satisfied?
Yeah, and the thing is like, I can't speak to how you change the culture of a police station.
I can,
but no. I'm not saying I don't know how. I said I can't speak to the reality of it, because if it was just something that was super simple, it would be done, because none of these police station cultures are being changed for the most part. But what I can say is this: when you are in charge, you have to take responsibility. You have to, because as a person that's leading that organization or leading that group of people, there's always something you can do.
Yep.
Like you, even in that moment where he apologized, or when he, said whatever he said, I don't know if he apologized, but said whatever he said, you could have said, "In my resign, and I'll do everything I can to change the culture of the police department. I'll do everything I can." Like, you could have said that, but they never say that kind of shit. They never point out the problems that the police station has. They never point out the people that's making mistakes. They never make that stuff public. So I can blame him. I don't feel sorry for him because he's a police chief, but we, at this point, people need to hear you speak out against it. I don't give a damn what you're doing behind closed doors, because whatever you're doing, can't nobody see that shit. Speak out against it.
They have it's a culture of protection. You know,
I know.
What I'm saying?
So that's why I say I don't feel sorry for him. He should have took it. He deserved everything he got because he's in charge, and you're not doing anything to change it.
But see,
the guy I was talking about was the mayor, and
the mayor.
I think he need. Well, I think So I think you have to watch it, and I get where you're coming from, and I agree. But I think he was just like probably just wanted to. I think he's feeling what we feel right now, and he was just put on this in this position, like really quickly. And also, I think, you know, it's just like, yeah, he can put some pressure on the police department, but he still has to follow the processes and the procedures. So that's why it's like, it's not about reforming. It's not about, everything needs to be dismantled. You know,
Right.
you can't, it's like, we want to hold people accountable of what they can do, but they still have to follow rules and processes. All of that shit needs to be burned up.
Yep.
Bro, if they just start putting them in prison like they supposed to be put in prison, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When they do
Well,
this,
the mayor can't just put somebody in prison.
well, I'm not talking
It's
about
like,
the mayor. I'm just talking about this culture. The way you break it up is we.
But that's why you have to dismantle it. Why? Okay, so you can. So the police officer is so now they're becoming the executor. That's the thing. That shouldn't even. Everybody should have their due process, but of course that's never happened.
Yes.
But the sheriff should just go pick up the police officer and put them in jail. I would agree. That sounds great, but that there's policies and procedures in place that don't allow it.
It's not even
like qualified immunity.
Exactly. Isn't that what we supposedly? Isn't that what the stuff that Tim Scott was trying to put in place, or actually he was trying to shoot it down or whatever? But isn't that's some of the stuff that was put in place that we were fighting for, that Black Lives Matter was fighting for and stuff like that even the Democrats were trying to set up and put in place? To me, the system doesn't have to be dismantled if they start.
Yes, it does.
Listen to what I'm saying. I hear what
I'm
you're
gonna hear
saying.
you. I'm gonna hear you.
It doesn't have to be dismantled or whatever if they start holding people accountable or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're upset at the dog for biting people and shit like that or whatever, when it's the master that's training him to bite people or whatever. So
but
if we
the
start
master,
holding people
but
accountable,
so hold them accountable to whose standard? If you have
to the same standard of everybody else, of every other
everybody
citizen.
doesn't have the same standard. So that's my thing. Like citizen rules are different than the president's rule. The president's rules are different than
they shouldn't
the
be. Nobody's supposed to be.
So that's why it has to be dismantled.
So
that's why it doesn't have to be dismantled if they're held to the same standard.
So two things. All right. So I'm gonna comment on your second because I know you're probably gonna have something to respond to. So I'm gonna say this first, going back to so people's voices is the most important thing. Like that's the problem. Like when there's actual change that occurs with the government and laws, it's because it's pressure from people. Now, how do people get to the point to where they force change? It's usually somebody who has a platform that matters saying something. And I'm not talking about celebrities. I'm talking about the people within the system. Like I go back to the mayor. You know, he can't make sure that woman is arrested. No, he can't make sure she's charged, but he can get on that podium and he can say what needs to be said. He can plant that seed for people to rally against what is happening. The people already want that, but where's the politician that's actually up there saying, fuck this shit? And not using that language, but actually saying it. Like, where's the politician that's doing that? I'm not talking about the activists. I'm not talking about the activists. I'm not talking about the celebrities that we listen to all the time. I'm talking about the people that actually can affect what we are, what the laws that can be changed. And you don't hear that. I don't care that mayor, and this is not towards you, Ebony, because I know you just was reporting what he was saying, but I don't care that he was up there in a certain mood, feeling a certain way. You have a responsibility. You have a responsibility. And if you believe that the way things are being done is not right, where the hell was your voice to make it change? And where's your voice right now? You don't have the luxury to feel like we feel and be quiet. You don't have that luxury. That's not the job that you signed up for. And then
I don't even think he signed up to be mayor.
Well, he shouldn't have took it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but you know,
hard pass.
And like to Damien, like what you're saying, you're right. There needs to be a level of accountability, but when you have a messed up system, you can't change the system by just holding people accountable. Like I bring it to something that's easier to digest because it's something that we see all the time. If you have a bad behavior system at a school and then you start giving kids ISS and OSS because they keep behaving and you think that, okay, kids going to stop misbehaving.
What that means. What
in school suspension, out of school suspension. And you think you're going to start giving kids in school suspension or out of school suspension because they misbehaving. And then the other kids going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to stop because now I see what's going to happen. That don't work. Mm-hmm. That does not work. the system has to be changed. The culture has to be changed. Once you start holding people accountable, the culture is already dead. The culture is already down. So all you're going to do is be holding a bunch of police accountable for continuing to mess up. Because none of them are going to think, none of them are thinking that I'm going to get in trouble. None of them are thinking that what I'm doing is I'm going to get caught. You're just going to have a bunch of cops going to jail and they still going to be killing us.
But they'll get fucked up in jail. I can say that much because folks in jail hate cops.
Hey, bro, the reason why I hear what you're saying and I agree with it on a certain level, if we're talking about specific things with this, I feel like it's not about this is what's necessary and it's what's supposed to happen or whatever. As far as changing the culture, we can't change retarded ass people from being retarded. That's going to start at home or whatever. People with mentally debilitating disease and dysocia and all of that type of stuff or whatever. It's nothing that society, I feel like, is going to be able to do to change that, because the seed, racism and supremacy seed has already been planted. It's already people that feel that way or whatnot. But if I go out and kill somebody, of course, we know that I'm going to prison or whatever. That's not going to stop you from doing the same thing if somebody pisses you off or if you just that type of person or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So we may not necessarily just stop cops from killing people, but they should be held accountable for doing so.
I believe
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
I think the system needs to be dismantled and
so what do we replace it with?
I mean,
we're not.
First of all, I think that police officers aren't fully vetted. I think they just let whoever. You want to be a cop? Can you run fast?
If you white enough, then you white enough, you right enough.
Or that. Yeah, they don't. I don't think they're fully vetted. I don't think they submit to enough like mental health assessments. I don't think they have. And then the whole premise that the system was built on, the police force was built on in the first place. I don't. Like all of that, I don't know. I just think they need to do a better job of when hiring police officers because, getting the background, everything, all the and it shouldn't be only how long is it? I think it's not even that long before you can be like on the streets with your gun and your badge and demanding that people get out of their car for no goddamn reason at all. The training should be longer. It
should be like a military training. I think that it should be your best and brightest. They should undergo IQ tests. They should go under well-vetted mental health assessments. They also should go through rigorous things. They should be able to be physically fit, and they should also spend time in the communities that they want to patrol. Before you're even a patrol person, you need to, almost like how some educators, I know you can get a stipend or get some money off by living or working in certain areas. That's what there should be incentives around you understanding that culture. You can't just go over there and then think you can communicate. So when I say dismantle, it's not about what do we replace it. I'm not talking. It's not about replace. It's fuck all your documents. Fuck what you stood on. Fuck what you thought. We about to do this over. We still gonna have police. I think police is necessary, but we're going to change the way police are vetted. We're gonna change the way police operates with the communities. There's no way that any police should be patrolling a neighborhood if they don't even know the kids at the schools. They should have to go to the high schools. They should start off in the elementary schools. They should know most of these kids by name. They're going to have to put on some nonprofit events or things. I mean, you're not going to change the racism. I don't give a damn if they're racist when they get home. I do understand what you are will come out, but I know this, my Ebonics stops when I get to work. So you can stop your whatever you want to hide. You can do that. Do what you're going to do with your homies and drink your beer. But when you're on this job, fake the funk or be real, whatever the fuck you want to do, but you're going to do the job. And we just do not have the policies and the procedures in place for that to happen. Dismantle it from the top to the bottom and let's start over.
The truth of the matter is, I don't think any of that stuff is going to happen or whatever.
Of course not. I mean, I don't think anything you or any of us say, but this is what's necessary.
I think that steps are being made, especially in like Maryland. They've already introduced a House bill to get rid of qualified immunity. Some cities, like where I'm from in St. Louis, if you are a if you work for the city police, the mayor's office, whatever, the cable commission, where my dad works, you have to live in the city. You do. You have to, or else you can't hold a city job. Like, why do you want to work here and you don't want to live here? So if that were the same for police, you need to live in the community in which you serve. We would start seeing some things happen a little bit different.
Well, I think, of course. But see, that's not dismantling. That's making the system better. That's making it work the way it's supposed to work or whatever. Like, there's no diversity in politics, period. From the police on up to the presidency, there's no diversity. We got all kind of people.
It's working the way it's supposed to work already.
Cousin, that's not the way it's supposed to work or whatever.
That's the way it was designed.
It wasn't designed.
That's the way we want to think that it's supposed to be better. From the Cowboys days to the Pirate days to these days, everybody just changed uniforms. This is the way it was supposed to. Police were not created to go get cats out of trees.
We're not going to not have police. That's not going to happen. I'm not talking
not to have police.
So okay, we're right now here today. We're in 2021. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about how, the way it started, the impetus and the catalyst and all of that type of stuff or whatever. But what it's supposed to be right now today, what it stands for, none of them are saying that we hate black people and we're just trying to rally up all the black people or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
They're never gonna say it.
Okay, so what it's supposed to be is supposed to put bad guys in jail or whatever. It's not supposed to be stopping people because of a damn air freshener. Hanging in
bad guys is subjective, and they thought he was the bad guy. So that's you're saying they're supposed to be looking for the killers and the people that are doing blue collar crimes and taking. No, they're not doing that. The bad guy is subjective.
I understand that. That's the reason I'm trying to get to my point that I keep getting off track from, because I can't get to it because you keep interrupting.
Get to your point.
The point that I'm making is the way it is supposed to be or whatever. Those people need to be held accountable, even not just the police, the legislation on up. There's not enough diversity in politics. We got all types of people from every nationality in this country, but in politics, it's like 70-80% white people, and shit, 60% of those are old white men.
So when you say supposed to be, are you meaning that's just the way it should be? Because when you say supposed to be, it makes it sound like
that is the way it's supposed to be. It's the same thing.
No, so when you say the same thing. When you say no, it's not, because when you say the way it's supposed to be
right now today, that is what it's supposed to be.
Will you listen? If you say when you say supposed to be, you make it sound like I didn't interrupt you.
Yes, you did.
You make it sound like it was designed to be a certain way. So when you say supposed to be, that makes it sound that way. And I think that's because I agree with Ebony. I don't believe it was supposed to be that way. I believe that when the police started, it was designed to catch slaves.
Yep.
It was designed to catch us.
That's not what it is now, Capel.
No. It's not what it is but based on their voices. But if you look at the people that's arrested, the ones that suffer the most, the way it was designed and the way it is now, it's still the same people being affected by the system. So when you say
other people are being affected,
it should be what you're saying. It should be what you're saying, but it's not designed a way to be that. It never was.
Yeah.
So it has to be broken down. It doesn't. And like I agree that you can't not have police, but you can dismantle a system and reform it to be something different.
Right.
That's not reformation. That's a new system.
Okay. Well, reformation supposed. My thing is this. I believe representation matters, and I do understand we need diversity. That's great and all, but I don't think it was ever designed to be diverse, because I don't think anything in politics was ever designed to have anybody but white people in it. But it's changing. It's happening. But the thing with not dismantling and putting the proper procedures in place, I don't mean like let's vote on taking black people cannot hold this position now. I know it was written in 1950, but we're going to take it out. I don't want that kind of thing, because you got to understand, even though I think it's more, of course, white cops that are shooting the black unarmed people, the issue is even with the power. So yeah, you could say, oh, well, if we had more Black police, I do think it would be better in our communities, but then you still have those Black cops, because that story I told before was one of them was a person of color. So it's about the power. Sometimes I think that because these people are not trained properly, they do not go through anything rigorous, they're not vetted properly, you may not have the white person that's doing it because they're racist, but you'll have somebody else that's doing it because now they weren't popular in school, or they didn't, whatever the case may be. That's why I'm saying everything needs to be dismantled.
So ultimately,
it's nothing in place to get the right people to police.
So ultimately, we're arguing semantics, because at the end of the day, we want the same thing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we all want to live.
Ultimately, we want the same thing. We want the people that's doing certain things to be held accountable for those certain things, and we want better policing, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But I don't agree with the way of getting it. I think that people can argue now that, we have all of that. We just got a few bad apples. I keep hearing that shit. A few bad apples are killing our children. I didn't say you. I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about these motherfuckers that keep saying that shit.
But we're not talking about them. We talking about us right now.
I am talking about what I want to talk about. So what I'm saying is, yes, we want the same thing at the end of the day. We want better police officers. We want better policing. Yeah, that's great. But the thing is, we keep doing little tidbits here and there, little band-aids to get there, and at the cost of lives. And I don't think anything is what it should be, but I definitely think it is what it's supposed to be.
What you're saying, so like I say, we're arguing semantics. What you're saying, I don't feel like it's ever going to happen. They're not going to.
No, I don't think anything we're saying is going.
So
no, I know it's not. But I'm just saying.
No, reformation will happen. It will happen. Reformation will. I don't know if it'll happen in our lifetime, but it definitely will happen. They're not going to dismantle the system. As far as you talking about them doing tidbits, that's the problem. They haven't been doing anything.
Oh no, they've been doing little tidbits.
Since when? Since George Floyd died?
No. The tidbit was, y'all, I know he was selling cigarettes. But so we're gonna go in and make sure that everybody has a body camera on their body. They had it on. Wait. They had it on, but we didn't make them turn it on. I know they came in.
I'm talking about a zero-sum game. I'm not talking about this little bullshit mind games and tricks that they. That's not what I'm not talking about.
They haven't been doing tidbits. Those are the tidbits that are not doing anything.
That's just started happening. They just did that over.
There's some tidbits from before.
It's been taking 60 years for them to give tidbits or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I haven't. I'm pretty sure we can research and find a series of tidbits.
Man, it hasn't been that many since Obama got in office, when he proposed the body cameras, and when Rodney King got beat. That was what, probably about 15, 20 years or something like that or whatever.
Yeah, and they put some laws in place. They put some laws in place. Actually, I didn't even know that until today, listening to the defense in the Chauvin trial.
I'm talking about holding people accountable. I'm not talking about tidbits. I'm talking about zero-sum game. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about what they've been doing. I'm talking about what needs to happen. It's not subjective, Ebony.
It is subjective.
I'm talking about what needs to happen.
If you say they need to hold them accountable, everybody's standard of what is accountable is different.
Okay, that's for everything. Whether it's everything is circumstantial or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Every cop that murders somebody doesn't necessarily deserve to go to prison or whatever, because it may have been circumstantially accurate. I mean, it may have needed to happen or whatnot. I'm not talking about whether or not he murdered this man in cold blood and it's subjective to whether or not it was supposed to happen or not. No, we know, everybody knows that it wasn't supposed to happen, but they're hiding behind the shield. When a white officer does something, the white officer gets $1 million attorney fees paid for him by the
and a GoFundMe
protective order of police and stuff like that. The black people,
and by the public,
black cops don't get that. So I'm not talking about subjective stuff. I'm talking about what is supposed to happen, zero sum. I'm not talking about tidbits. I'm saying what needs to happen or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Period.
So what are you saying as far as accountability? Like how do they get held accountable?
The same way we get held accountable, Capel. If you commit a crime,
but see, that's the thing.
That's something that's never gonna happen. So
you can't. You what's the problem with that is we are going to be held accountable simply because there's a law that states we can't do it, and then we go to jail based on what that law is and whatever. For them, they have laws and policies that protect them from what they do. We know what they're doing is wrong when you see it, so you just can't hold them accountable without making a change to the system.
Right.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
But it's not just about holding them accountable. There's steps that has to be changed before you get to the accountability piece.
Okay.
So that means that you have
the same thing.
Well, not really.
Saying the exact same thing.
No, maybe in your head, maybe that was part of it in your head. That's not semantics. That is actual steps. That's not differences in words. That's like something that's completely missing from the conversation.
How is it missing from the conversation if I'm saying the same thing that you're saying?
You just said that they need to be held accountable the way we are being held accountable. We are not the same. We are not the same as cops. They can't be held accountable the way we are because it's not possible right now. There are things that have to happen for them to be held accountable.
Certain things have to go away. Things have to change because if they're held accountable like we are, like, qualified immunity and that GoFundMe and all those other things that happen, all that stuff needs to go. Attorneys' fees paid. All that stuff needs to go away. Like, put them on the same playing field as us. And then let's see what happens. It's not the same thing. It's like taking away all of the old stuff and bringing in some new rules, some new expectations, some new order, new world order, if you will, and then go from there. But it's not true reformation because I want everything to go away and start from scratch. We do need a police force. I'm not for like totally defunding the police at all, but certain things need to happen in order for us to feel safe when a police officer gets behind us, or at least me, because I don't feel safe. Every time one gets behind me or even close to me, I'm looking like, making sure my seatbelt is on and that I'm driving the speed limit. And everything is, thinking about, like Ebony said, old tickets and stuff. All of that stuff so I don't have to feel like that anymore. If it's the same, but we're going to change it and reform it a little bit and then hope that the officers who still work there, actually abide by these different set of circumstances, changes, expectations, then we're just, I don't think anything's going to change. I think we're still going to have the same problems.
You have to do that. So you have to do the same. Everything that you just laid out is 100% accurate, and you have to do that anyway. We don't live in a utopia where everybody is kumbaya or whatnot. It doesn't matter if you dismantle when I say reformation, I mean what reformation is. You know what I'm saying? If I take my arm and pull it off, I no longer have an arm. As simple as it doesn't, the steps that it took to get there, whatever you choose how you want to choose it, or whatever. But at the end of the day, we still get the same results.
With that, even with that, I believe that would be a major step. So let's say, everything that you said was loaded, as far as the accountability piece, to make the changes to qualified immunity, make the policies, changes to the policies, things that they have to do. So when they mess up, they are held accountable. I still feel like that's just a portion of what's going to help make things better, because again, you can do all that, and if you don't do anything else to change the culture, you're still gonna have a lot of the same situation.
You can never reform a culture just by reforming.
No, it is not going to change. I know we'll never be able to.
It's not going to change the culture,
but it's not going to change the culture. Cultures don't change like that.
They don't.
Cultures are intentional. You have to put things in place to change the culture. You have to put steps in place. Culture is intentional. You don't just make a change to some consequences of people doing something and then everything changes. You have to put steps in place to make the culture change.
Yeah, I just gave you one.
No, that is going to stop. That's going to stop certain people from doing certain things.
You can't stop it's impossible to stop everybody. You're not going to change.
Listen.
Racist people from being racist.
So
we're not trying to change racist people from being racist.
We're not. I for one, I don't believe. We just want them to
behave while they're at work. Like, don't be racist at work.
Exactly.
Don't let your implicit bias make you kill somebody of color because you have that in you. You need to recognize it and not act upon it.
What you just said, Regina, is the thing. I think a lot of people who have this argument believe that when these things happen is because a person is racist, as if they are racist in the way that they just hate black people or they hate whatever people, and they are out there looking to do something bad. I believe for most of the people, it's about implicit bias. They look at things and see them for what's not real. They make a predetermined judgment of who they're talking to and what that person really is, and now they're acting upon it. Those same people that'll sit up there and kill a black person as a cop and say, but I don't dislike black people, I got black friends, is because they don't dislike black people as a whole, but they have an opinion about black people too that they act upon as police officers. And that's a culture that you have to change, because if you don't change that, those same people are not, they're not thinking, they're going to do the same thing because it's instinctual for them. Like, people don't want to believe that. People want to believe that they make these murders, they shoot these people because they stop you and they already say to themselves, that's what I'm going to do. I think that's a small percentage of people. I think that's what people mean when they say it's a few bad apples. The people, most of the cops that's doing this shit, they have implicit bias. They have a vision or an assumption of what people are, or black people are, when they make that stop. They think they know what they're thinking already. Like, they thought this kid had a warrant and it wasn't even here, so automatically he's a criminal. They're not hesitating to shoot him because of what they think that black people are as far as criminals go. But let him see that same black person at Walmart. They're like, oh, how you doing? Thank you for holding the door open for me, sir. Could be the same kid, different situation.
Yeah.
That's the culture that needs to change. If you don't change that, if you don't have part of the training be where you have to go through implicit bias training, you have to understand diversity. You like Ebony said, be in a community. Those are the things that change a culture. It has to be intentional. You're going to have some people not do what you're talking about holding them accountable, but it is not going to change the structure as a whole. I promise you it's not, bro.
So you telling me that any job that you've ever been on, there's not people that are disgruntled?
I don't know how I said that.
Yeah, there's some disgruntled people, but they know. But I'll say in my job, when they try to change the culture, they have a lot of buzzwords and all that, but the culture is the culture. It never changed. We have consequences, and we have new things that are in place. But the people that are who they were before this company bought this company are the same people, and they operate the same way. But I do know that at certain companies that are studied, like Chick-fil-A's, your Microsofts and things like that, where they still have, I'm sure they have some people with implicit bias. They probably have people that are racist. They have disgruntled people that are angry at home or whatever. They probably beat their wives, whatever. But the culture changed, and they actually model when the culture changed, under what leadership and the leadership style. So no, it's not going to ever be 100% effective, but the data is out there, and the culture cannot change without everything changing. Like, everything really has to change. There cannot be any lingering things there. It just can't be. It's almost like saying, oh, we're going to still sing don't forget about that second stanza of the what is it, Star Spangled Banner. Mm-hmm. We're reforming. Just sing the first one. It's a reform. No, I don't want to sing none of it.
That's because you found out about it. If I had it my way,
I've been known about it. I grew up in a black school. They taught it. We only sung the black national, the black anthem. We were taught that.
If I had it my way, the culture would change. Because when I'm talking about accountability, I'm not just talking about murdering people. I'm talking about some of these cops. They're mentally equipped or whatever to where they can displace their emotions and stuff like that. They cannot show that racist side. And we don't even know how the people that are vetting these folks, if they are showing racism and they're like, oh, it's okay, you can come in here. Diversity is going to be the first thing that I'm going to change or whatever. That's going to change. That's not going to 100% change the culture, but that's a start in the right direction. The second thing that I'm going to do is, when I talk about accountability, like I say, I'm not just talking about murder. When I see that these cops are handling people, and this one cop got 3-4 write-ups and stuff like that. Well, not write-ups, but from the community, complaints and stuff like that or whatever. We're not just going to keep having discussions or whatever. Your ass is going to get out of there because you're not equipped.
If you can see the write-ups, but see, I would love
I'm talking about being able to do that stuff. Ebony,
no, I understand. I'm thinking somewhere. You don't even know where I'm going with that. what I'm trying to say is I actually agree with you. But the thing is, I'm pretty sure that there's some people in leadership roles that think the same way you are thinking. But then you have your other people underneath that there's no write-ups because we didn't write that person up because that's my buddy. There's something like you really have to, they're actually putting these things in place, hiring people in diverse roles, but it's just that because the culture doesn't change, people still hide those things.
But when we figure that out, we can't change it if we don't know that it's happening. Once we realize that it's happening, then we can change it. I can get that person. I can get that person. It's like that in everything. Everybody has perks on their jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, what person doesn't have perks on? You got friends or whatever that may not write you up in HR. Like, look, don't do that again.
Oh, no, I don't.
Whatever. Well, you may not, but some people do or whatever. So you're not going to get rid of that. People gonna look out for their people. But once I realize that that's going on, now you're getting out of there. Right now we don't have checks and balances. All we have is the shield, and we got everybody from the top to the bottom protecting the shield. We have to dismantle the shit. We have to dismantle the thought of it's us against them.
Yeah, I agree. Dismantle,
tear it down,
dismantle.
Start over.
How people idolize the shield, the flag, everything, and the system needs to be dismantled. I mean, I agree.
You have to finally coming to our side, D. Will. Thank you.
I think the thing is it's not a side. I think what he's saying is true. It's just that's not the crux of it. Like, you can't have accountability without a culture change, but you can't have a culture change without accountability either. Because if you try to change the culture, but you don't have the accountability piece in there, and the people that fight it, they're going to be.
They're gonna do whatever they want.
They're gonna do it exactly. Like, if you try to change the culture, but you don't have accountability measures in place, then the people that don't want to change, they're gonna do whatever they want. And what's to stop them from doing it? Because there's no accountability. So it's not a side. It's like both of them have to be there. Like, the accountability is not the major piece. It is half of the puzzle. The culture change is the other half of the puzzle. They have to be. Both of them have to be there.
Changing the culture by holding people accountable.
You do not change the culture by holding people accountable. You don't.
That is a piece of it. Yes, it is. That's a piece of it.
Holding people accountable is one part. The culture changes.
The police have
is the other part.
Exactly.
They're sent home all the time. They're held accountable. They were sent home.
The reason why you don't change the culture is because the culture is how we do things.
Right.
Accountability is
how we do things.
No,
we don't. That's not how we do things.
A culture is when you ask a person what is the culture of this place, they're going to say, "Oh, people come to work late. They do what they want to do. Don't nobody do their work." Or they're going to say, when you come here, you a family. Like, we got each other's backs, but we call each other out if they do things wrong. That's part of the culture. Holding each other accountable is part of the culture. But
that's what I just said.
No. That's not what you said.
That's what I just said. I can't wait to listen to this. Y'all ain't gonna listen. I'm gonna send y'all the audio.
I said holding people accountable is part of the culture.
That's what I said.
Each other. I said each other. I didn't say the law.
Within the system.
I said that's part of the culture. Holding each other accountable.
Like,
when I'm not talking about you broke the law. Exactly. I'm not talking about you broke the law. All right, y'all, let's go get them. Let's go put them in jail. That's the law part accountable. What I'm talking about. I'm talking about the culture part of how we treat each other, how our job is. Like, people are not going to say, "Oh, our culture is when he fuck up out there and he shoot somebody, his ass is going to jail. We gonna make sure he go to jail." That's not what people say.
Did not just say that I wasn't just speaking about the lawful aspect when you murder somebody, that I'm talking about on the job accountability.
Well, I think I need you to write down your thoughts before we
that's what I'm about to say. If that's not what you were talking about, it was in your head, because everything that you said about accountability was based off of changing policy.
Y'all sound
everything you said about accountability
is important.
It doesn't matter. I'm not sitting up here and just spewing out all of my thoughts every time I start talking.
Well, then you can't act like what we saying is invalid if we don't know what the hell is in your head.
Precision of language.
Every time I start talking, I'm interrupted.
Only because every time we talk, you interrupt and then you say it's never gonna happen. Your thoughts are stupid. Your mic is bad. You're not. It's not realistic. It's reparations and reformations.
Out of all of the 30 words you just said, I probably said 2 of them.
It's not the catalysts and analysts and all of that. Yeah, you said all that.
Hey, bro, I don't disagree with accountability, but it is not the end all be all to make things.
And
better.
I never said it was, so I don't remember saying that, and I know
you
I
did
didn't.
Say
so
that.
I don't know where that
you
came
did say
from.
it was not the end all be all. But
It's
you saying accountability changes everything. You say accountability changes the culture. You saying and I'm saying that doesn't happen.
That's like me saying, "Hey, bro, pepper jack cheese ain't the best cheese." Like you never said anything about cheese, so why am I even saying that? You just saying some bullshit.
Hey, bro, I don't even know what the hell you talking about.
Right now.
I don't even know what the hell you talking about. No, with the cheese,
just saying stuff,
dude.
Just saying stuff.
I can't wait till you go back and listen. Okay, your whole rant has been about accountability, and nobody disagreed with the fact that accountability needs to happen. But we disagreeing with the fact that you think accountability is all that needs to happen.
How many times do I gotta say that I did not say that?
Then why don't you just say what we
That's why I say precision of language is important. Next time,
let's put money
write
on.
down what you have to say before
you don't have to put money on it because I can tell you now you didn't say that.
Where your mouth is.
I can tell you now you didn't say it. We ain't got to put money on it. You never said it.
Precision and put some money up. I didn't say none of that.
You didn't say that accountability is all that matters, but you've argued anything that we've talked about pairing with accountability. Anything that we talked about pairing with accountability, you have fought against it. So it's easy to conclude. No, I've said several times that you're right. We need to do those things, but it's not it.
He likes doing this. Like
so, anybody is going to surmise that you're against it. I think he do too.
Okay, that's his. Hey.
Nah, y'all crazy, man.
But I will say this, again, I know we got off on our rant and tangent or whatever about police and all that. Everything we said needs to happen. Bottom line, everything we said needs to happen. It wasn't no wrong statements about what needs to happen when it comes to police. You can call it dismantling, reform. Maybe that's the semantics that we need to talk to point out. Because I don't care if you call it dismantling or reform. It needs to fucking change. Exactly.
Yep. Stop killing.
I agree on that. Absolutely.
Stop killing folks. Stop stopping people for no reason. Just stop it. Stop being Karens. Stop all of that. Just stop bothering folks. It doesn't make any sense. You're going to take somebody's life, and you're gonna have to, and if you're gonna be looking over your shoulder the rest of your life. So
indeed, because if it was one of my kids, y'all, hey, it wouldn't be no GoFundMe because they would put my ass up under the jail. I would never get out because I'm going after.
There'll be a GoFundMe for their ass.
Indeed, because I'm not like I'm fiercely protective of my children and now my nephew and like all of that. So I can't leave us alone. We over here minding our black ass business. You go mind yours.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to hear nothing about the riots and the looting. And I've seen a lot of peaceful protesting, but I know what's going to be pulled out of this. But like I said before, this young man's life cannot be replaced. So if y'all mad about buildings, because like Gina said, because if it was one of mine, I could care less what's burned down. Like if that's going to get your attention, then let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Fuck your building, fuck your feelings, fuck all of that, because human lives can't be replaced. Black lives matter. Yeah.
Yep. Word.
Yep. So I guess we're about to end this show, but maybe on the next show, since we're talking about Black Lives Matter, we can mention everybody's been talking about one of the founders of Black Lives Matter buying a home in LA. So they're really upset about it. So,
honestly, we could talk about them, but I don't really even care about them because when I think Black Lives Matter, I don't think them. I don't
either.
And a lot of people, especially the detractors, they try to connect the two, and there's no connection. The Black Lives Matter movement has nothing to do with the Black Lives Matter organization. Then people just capitalized off of something, and I forget what they're talking about. I ain't got forget them. We can talk about them though, because that is some bullshit.
Well, I think it's been in the headlines, so I think we should. Okay.
Oh.
All right, this has been another great episode of Acoustic Chef. We appreciate
great.
Listening, tuning in, watching, however you are peeping us out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank y'all.
D Will against the world.
Until next time.